folks, it's Emma over at Retro Dodo, and today I'm going to show you how to win Mission 3 in Advance Wars Reboot Camp. As the name of this mission suggests, fog is going to block a lot of your vision. If you've played stuff like Fire Emblem before or previous Advance Wars games, you're going to know this kind of battlefield quite well. I'd say compared to some of the later battles that involve fog, Mission 3 is the easiest to get through. However, the biggest challenge you've got is avoiding the enemy rockets early on, and then as you get closer to the enemy HQ, there's some artillery tanks lurking that could really devastate your units. When you first start the battle, you won't actually be able to see the enemy rockets. The only reason I can is because I sent my recon ahead, so you can see it right there next to the rockets. I'm not too worried about it though, because enemy rockets have a really interesting attack range. They can hit quite far, but the immediate vicinity around them, you can't really get hurt. There's like a small diamond shape, which is brilliant because that means my recon can be there and then I can send some tanks down to finish it off. I would say, however, take out the medium tank next to it first, just so the tanks you're sending in don't get wiped out too quickly. I found that after my first hit of the rockets, another hit took it out, and then it was plain sailing up until I got towards the HQ. The reason this battle goes on quite a while is because of the fog. You can charge in and just risk it, but it's so much better if you take your time. I played through Mission 3 again later on, and I wasn't quite as cautious, and I fell into so many traps where the enemy was suddenly surrounding me. And yes, I still got to the end, but my ranking was so much worse, and I lost a lot of units. What I would say is use your recon as much as possible. I probably didn't use it in Mission 3 as much as I should have done, because I was still kind of getting to grips with it and kind of just testing everything out, and I wasn't too worried about losing. When using your recon, I'd say send it on the edge of where the darkness is if you can, rather than directly into it, just because you don't know what's lurking there. And whilst your recon won't do loads of damage, it is really good against enemy infantry. And as you get closer to the HQ, some more infantry will start popping up, and you'd rather use your tanks to focus on the artillery that's hiding right next to the enemy HQ. Olaf is going to use his Blizzard CO power a couple of times during this battle, but again, I've not really found it an issue. Whether that'll change later on in future battles remains to be seen, but right now it doesn't really do anything. It just makes the battlefield look a bit prettier, and it only lasts a day and then it's gone. The biggest issue you've got as you get closer to HQ, I know I've said about the artillery, but there are a few enemy medium tanks still lurking around, which can do some damage. I'd keep your infantry capturing the cities, as you can see, and then sending in your tanks to wipe out that medium tank as quickly as possible. I probably should have used my rockets a lot more than I did. They become more and more useful as the game goes on, so don't forget about those like I did, and you might power through this a little bit quicker. Either way though, you can see I'm really getting close to HQ. It's going to take my infantry a little while longer to get there, but I'm not too worried. It's pretty much plain sailing. Now that I'm on the other side of the map, and as you can see in a lot of Blue Moon territory, my medium tank has revealed a enemy lander. Don't worry about that. It's not really doing anything. I sent my medium tank in, but it was a bit of a waste, mainly because I didn't know what the lander would involve, but as I did later missions, I found out really it's just transporting other enemy units, and at this stage the enemy units can't really go anywhere, so I'm fine. The artillery didn't pose too much of a threat, though I am sacrificing my recon, as you can see here. Mainly because I'm not too worried, it's close to endgame, my infantry is going to shortly be at the enemy HQ, and I feel pretty confident that I'm going to finish this battle in very short order. Having said that, when my infantry starts to capture the HQ, I am hit by enemy fire, which means it takes longer to capture the HQ, so instead of 2 turns it took 3. But either way, I got it done, and I'm now ready to move on to mission 4. It's not really a difficult mission, but it's worth taking your time and using a guide if you're getting really stuck, which I can understand if you've never played Advance Wars or other tactical games before. I'm still quite a novice when it comes to tactical games, so I'm sure some of you could do this in a lot more stylish and quicker way. However, I think my ranking was still S ranking at this stage, so I'm pretty happy with that. Not too many units lost, and Nell was very happy with me, so she's gonna go in the future missions. She's still there over the walkie-talkie, but it'll be Andy and then eventually Max and then eventually Sammy. But for now, we've completed mission 3 and I will see you in the next guide.